So right now, if you want to have a conversation about what is going to go into the budget, you're about 6 months too late. All right. The finance bill, for all intents and purposes, more or less is out. Starting to see some things. But what we are pushing for by having a conversation like this is to encourage Kenyans to be part of the process from the time the bell rings on the 30th of August. Now, we're going to have a conversation today because we're saying, what would Wananchi be asking that the country spends its money on? And how should this money be appropriated? How should it be spent? So that when we talk about public participation, that is exactly what we are saying, that you need to be involved in the process upon which it's your money anyway. The Treasury, with a small group of people, have decided how your money is going to be spent, where you will borrow from, how you will repay, and then what is going to be appropriated to different sectors. So in our push to say that public participation must not be a dream, but it must be a reality, that is why we have the conversations that we do. So are we going to be able to influence the numbers that went into the budget? Probably not. Can you influence the debate that will happen over the Finance Bill 2026? 100%. So let's start off with you, Ruth. That we see certain things already starting to come out in terms of what will then go to Parliament. How can we actually look at these numbers and say that the forecast for 2026 maybe looks a little bit better in terms of the economy for the country?
Thank you so much for that. And I like where you've come from, because the budgeting process in this country will never be the same again since 2024. Right now, we have a citizen that is very self-aware. They are more scrutinous to what is going on. They are also pushing for accountability from the leaders. And right now, it's not the quiet process that used to be there actually in the last regimes. If we look, for example, at what was tabled yesterday in Parliament, maybe, and the fact maybe we are coming also from the Labor Day celebration, which is really incorporates most of the common working Kenyan, and even whatever was tabled yesterday in Parliament, you can see quietly where the government is coming from. And from where I sit, I could tell they're trying to broaden, of course, and broaden tax base and still increase the revenue, which has been happening for a very long time. So I'm really keen to see how different that is going to happen, because targets, of course, have been so high, meaning that if we haven't been attaining that before, also it's still time to rethink on how we're going to push that. Secondly, of course, there are a bit of introductories that are coming on board. So how is that going to happen, especially because there's a lot of some sectors you can tell they are really targeted, especially the technological kind of aspect and digital platforms that are targeted. But how is that going to happen so that they can be onboarded, and how are they going to differentiate from what happened last year in 2024. So I'm really keen to see that. But that not all outstanding, because it's coming from a government perspective, and of course they expect the Mwananchi to react. What, as a common Mwananchi, what would they also be looking at, or what can they also focus on, so that they ensure that they balance this conversation, especially when the bill is still going on.
Right.
And the first thing is, of course, ensuring that the cost of living for Kenyan is managed, because just previously, like 2 weeks ago, fuel prices went up. If fuel prices went up and immediately the president was able to bring it down 10 shilling, I believe it can still go down. So there's that option, because that I think fuel prices are the ones that normally push the cost of living, because the logistical cost and the pushing of goods and services in the market becomes very expensive. And we are doing that at a time when the weather conditions are really favorable. We can't say that the prices of common goods and services are high. So there's a consideration and a place that the government should start rethinking even as the bill goes. I know it was presented, but even as it goes through, because KRA also has to tone in a way that is also doesn't seem predatory, especially in the more scrutiny that they're talking about, and ensuring that more is not leaking, there's no more leaks. The second thing is, of course, availability of jobs, because we have almost 40% of our population is the young people. As they push the digital taxes, how are they also bringing on board the young people to ensure they are also within the job brackets? So that it's a give and give. It has to give and give. And right now, we don't want to sit here and look like the citizens are fighting with the government. No, the government should now come with collaboratory kind of efforts to ensure Mwananchi and government are working together. We are in a pre-election year, and all input, actually all the hands have to be on the deck, and the inputs of common Mwananchi very important. And as you've said, we are capable of influencing this conversation. So there's job availability, stable conditions of doing business and ease of doing business in Kenya is still considered very high.
Yes.
Our taxes are very high. We cannot go higher than that. Give people time and ensure that the main sectors like agriculture and they are being taken care of. So with all that in mind, if we can bring all that together and balance in a way of win-win, no one is fighting the government, and also the government should not be seen that it's fighting its people. That is what is going to be an anchor for economic prosperity.